Hello Exiles, this is Ryan from Behind Eyes Gaming and welcome to another Path of Exile video. Today I'm going to be updating or giving an update on my elemental hit Elementalist, who has gotten all the way to tier 16 maps, but not high Awakener level. I haven't done some of the bigger bosses, like I haven't done Cirrus, I haven't done like Shaper Guardian, Shaper Elder or anything like that yet, and I'm probably not going to on this character, and I'll talk about why. However, this build has turned out to be a pretty incredible map clear. It's quite fast, quite good, very reliable, and it can deal with all of the regular map bosses up to tier 16 reasonably quickly, although could use a little improvement, and I'll talk about that. Alright, so getting into the gear, I have my bow, which has an anoint on it, or it has an enchantment on it rather, that gives it accuracy instead of the physical attack damage from quality. We don't use the physical attack damage because of elemental hit. Our accuracy is at 100% against non-evasive and 98% against evasive enemies, so that's pretty solid. It's still +3. I'm focused more on the crit chance and crit multi with this. My plans for this bow to improve it are to get the minus life mod on it, so I'll get rid of with the harvest crafting, of course, I'll get rid of the 12 life gained on kill, replace that with the attack speed, and then it'll be a lot better. Potentially later I'll also get a remove random fire mod using the harvest crafting, and also get elemental damage with attacks. So if I can do both of those things, that'll increase the DPS of this bow and put it pretty much to the perfect bow for the build. So currently I have a 2023 elemental hit. I was unsuccessful in getting the level 21 from leveling up my alternate elemental hits, unfortunately. So I'm gonna have to deal with this for now. Eventually I'm gonna get a 2120. That'll increase the DPS by about 8%. It's not as drastic as some spells can be as far as the damage increase from levels, but still fairly significant. And I am rocking the same helmet I've been rocking for a very long time. In fact, there are a couple of pieces of gear I haven't changed at all. I do want to get a 15% elemental hits attack speed helmet when I can and craft that up. That'll increase the DPS by a nice amount. I'm using one of the same rings as well. You can see, and yeah, it's just accuracy life if you don't remember it, and then pretty low resistances on a diamond ring. The Impulse's Broken Heart. I didn't mention this previously, but you absolutely do need Impulses or Herald Device or an Explodey chest in order to increase your clear speed. I'm going to be very happy with the clear speed with this, and not so happy with it without. So if you're not able to get an Explodey chest or an Impulses, just use Herald Device. Currently I'm using Grace rather than that, which is putting my evasion rating over 11,000, which is pretty nice. Synergizes with the dodge and such, so quite good. Don't get hit that frequently. Using this other not so great ring, it has a good life roll and some resistances, but for the most part it's pretty weak. It gives % accuracy rating and some % elemental damage with attack skills. I don't have the tier 2 craft of this just yet. Once I get that, we'll get a little damage off this. Still using the same gloves, 73 life and double resist. Can definitely upgrade this, and probably should because we're not LE weakness capped. But at this point I'm kind of phasing out of this character so I can do my Wild Strike Raider. So I probably won't upgrade that, but I guess later on if I want to play this character again, those are the kinds of upgrades I'm going to make. Belt's actually quite nice, 121 life. Some resistances and a decent elemental damage with attack skills roll. I also got a pretty good quiver. It's got 51% crit chance, a good accuracy roll, good life roll, good fire resist roll. Has the increased elemental damage with attack skills at a pretty high value as well. Once I get more syndicate crafts, I'm going to get rid of the mana and get something else on there for a little bit more damage there. Using the same boots, 30% movement speed and then like 64 life, this can definitely be improved. And currently one of the biggest weaknesses to the build is that I do get one shot by physical spells specifically. I don't get hit by physical attacks too often. When I do, they chunk me and can possibly kill me, but yeah, physical damage is a big weakness. I think one of the things I would recommend is, rather than going Steel Skin on my cast 1 damage taken, go with Immortal Call, and then also put it right here in Enduring Cry. Getting some endurance charges to get some physical damage mitigation would be really nice, and I think that would be the way to go for sure. And then I'm using Elemental Weakness with faster casting, increased area of effect, Dash with Second Wind. I do not I have both of these 20%ed now, so pretty soon once I get them all leveled up, gonna be dashing pretty much non-stop, which will be nice. Just running like Blood Rage, Grace, Precision. I have a Mirage Archer. I was playing around with that. I haven't been super satisfied with Mirage Archer for clear. I feel like the explosions clear just fine. Doesn't seem to help that much with single target either. In fact, for single target, I just put in the faster attacks over GMP. My DPS according to POB with all of the, once I have exposure, which I get very easily using the Cluster Jewel, Corrosive Elements. Once I have exposure applied, I'm getting about 600,000 DPS for my AoE clear and about 900,000 to a million, somewhere in between there once I get faster attacks. My upper end it's probably never going to be higher, and that's if I can keep frenzies up. So, and I only use Blood Rage for that, so that's pretty much only if there are ads in the boss. If there are no ads, it's going to be I'm going to lose some attack speed and some more damage. It's probably going to end up somewhere like 800,000 DPS. Not that great single target. Even in the upper end, once I get all of my gear and gems completely upgraded, it's not going to be any higher than 1.4, 1.5 million. I checked through POB. So it's not going to be a great end game boss killer for like your Cirrus and your Shaper Guardians, that kind of thing. So I'm going to switch to a different build since I'm getting to that stage of the game that's going to handle those hopefully a little better. And then I'll be able to do those on this. As far as map clears go though, this is a great build. I don't know if I went over my Cluster Jewel. It's an 8 passive elemental damage one with just some extra dex on the little nodes, so it could be a little better. I can definitely Exalt Slam onto this using Harvest Crafting. I might even have something in my Horticrafting station. I'm not really sure what I have saved up there. Yeah, I don't even think I popped my Horticrafting station in here, honestly, but I can always check that out later. But Widespread Destruction gives us a little AoE. We end up with 30% increased AoE with the Lethal Assault cluster here along with that, which helps the clearing with the impulses. Means we don't need to grab any other kind of AoE. Like, it feels like a waste to do Blast Radius. This is an AoE gem. Elemental Hit does have a built-in AoE component, but just investing in the AoE seems pointless. However, Widespread Destruction was basically just like a bonus on this gem. And then I also have this nice little small Cluster Jewel. I want something similar. It's got Chaos Resist and Evasion, which is really nice. And then it's got Surging Vitality, which I quite like. It's only 8% maximum life, but you also get some flat regen. And every 4 seconds, regenerate 10% of your life over 1 second, which is pretty good. So we got that going for us. Build hasn't changed too much. I did end up speccing out of Fleetfoot so I could invest in the Cluster Jewels. That's very important. For those who, I have Anointed Throat Seeker. I had previously had Cloth and Chain because it's very cheap. So the very first thing I did on my first decent amulet was get Cloth and Chain, just because I was a little low on my resistances, and you can do that. Throat Seeker is also pretty good. I would also say something like Divine Judgment wouldn't be a bad idea. Even something, there are plenty of interesting ones you can get, but I would say those. I'm going to answer a couple questions that people ask me pretty frequently in the previous comments. Just address those now. Why don't I use Barrage for single target? It's because of Elemental Equilibrium. The way Barrage works with the Elemental Hit is that your entire barrage is going to be the singular element that is chosen for Elemental Hit. So right there with Fire, all of the barrages would be fire. So the first one would proc Elemental Equilibrium, which would actually give the enemy plus 25% resistance to fire for the remaining hits. So it ends up being pretty weak overall. Granted, if you have fast enough attack speed, you're cycling through, but you're still losing some DPS, and it still might work out to be about the same or maybe even a little higher with Barrage, but I just think it feels bad to have it in there. So yeah, with Elemental Equilibrium and Elemental Hit and Barrage, I don't think they're a great combination, and I would not recommend those in combination. Another question is, why don't I get the Walker skills? It's because they are only affecting the skill once every 3 times. I might pick, it's possible I could pick one up to help shore up my lower than optimal as far as elemental weakness maps resistances. So I might, for instance, grab the cold one, but it's 25% cold damage. You got to think of that as being actually a third of that, which works out to like 8.3 repeating percent damage that it's giving me. The cast speed isn't doing anything, and then I'm getting resistances. It ends up being a really inefficient node, especially for 2 points. I'm getting the 10% LE damage, but I'd rather, you know, put that towards here so I can get this medium cluster jewel to either put just a regular jewel in or another small life jewel, which is probably the intention. I definitely need more life going forward still. As I get into the 90s, I can also pick up basic jewel slots or even like the melding nodes until I get some good jewels to go. I have a couple of decent jewel slots to get here along with this one. So as far as life goes, that's probably where I'm going in order to improve that, because honestly getting one shot is pretty much the only problem. Don't need to pick up a lot more DPS. We're not going to get a lot of DPS from the tree no matter what we do, except for maybe like really nice jewels that give things like, you know, attack speed, crit multi, just like bow damage, elemental damage, anything like that. Having life and then multiple damage rolls on there is really going to improve that. And then outside of that, yeah, there hasn't been really any changes. I'm gonna go ahead and throw in a map just to kind of show you how it clears. Why don't actually, I got a tier 15 beachhead here. Why don't I throw that in? We'll do a beachhead. That'll be fun. Get some nice little action, and I'll kind of talk about it. So yeah, we have the rendering issue since this is my first map since I've logged in. So enemies are a little bit invisible starting off here. So, but yeah, as you can see, we shoot into groups. They usually die. Blue packs, you might have to shoot twice. The attack speed's pretty good, but like I said, I want more attack speed on my bow. I could definitely use more. You can definitely tell the difference when you crit and apply exposure. Like you can be doing almost nothing to rare or blue mobs, and then all of a sudden just absolutely chunk them out of the blue. That's the kind of thing that happens, is like you'll get the exposure applied and then you'll just absolutely wreck them after you have the exposure, especially once you hit a crit. So all of the damage working, and that's why attack speed's so important. So when you're not hitting those bigger hits, you can just grab those up. But yeah, most regular packs you can just attack into and you'll see the explosion from the Impulsa doing work. The more clumped up they are, like in delves for instance, you'll definitely just wreck entire hallways with Impulsa explosions. If you've used Impulsa before, you definitely understand how that works. Impulsas are not all that expensive currently in Ritual, and you don't need, like, if you have your bow linked. By the way, I should probably mention this. You can use the Porcupine. Yeah, and I just took a big physical hit there. You can use the Porcupine cards, which last I checked were only like 3 or 4 chaos each, and you need 6 of them. And then use a Deafening Essence of Dread to get a 6-link +2 bow very easily. This also will apply for other bow builds, that like Toxic Rain, for instance, is another popular build. You can, if you want a 6-link bow with +2, or with any kind of bow build that scales off gem levels, you can do that very cheaply. Screaming or Deafening Essences of Dread were only 3 or 4 chaos each last time I checked, and it was like 3 chaos each for the cards. So you're talking like 18 plus you know, and then you can craft whatever you need. 18 plus 4, so about 22 chaos to craft a 6-link +2 bow. So, and 22 chaos in Ritual, like I've literally gotten 10 chaos off just random rituals. Oh yeah, speaking of, the Impulse is also very good for clearing rituals, by the way, since there's a lot of clumped up masses of units. So, very nice there. I think I might have walked past the boss spawn. I think it's up here. I could be wrong. I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. Hate to do it. Boy, this seems so slow after playing my Raider with its like baseline 100%, 110 or 120% movement speed. This build seems very slow in comparison. As far as movement speed wide, I'm really looking forward to that though. So I hope you guys are looking forward to the Wild Strike Raider as well. It's been a blast to level. I just got it. I'm right at the end of Act 10, so I've been playing it kind of alternating between that. playing like an hour on this character, an hour on that character yesterday, so it's been fun. But yeah, oh yeah, you want to apply LE weakness to like rare mobs if they're taking a second to kill like that. So once you get the LE weakness, they melt pretty quickly. But yeah, generally clumped up groups like this, inherently clumped up groups such as the ones from these guys, I almost called them Legion. That's not right. But you know what I mean. These little alien dudes, they will die very, very quickly. Quite quickly here. The explosions will hit the rares too, so usually the trash mobs will take a decent chunk out of the rare mobs if they're all grouped together like this. But yeah, as you can see, especially with GMP, my ability to kill the rares is kind of slow. And that's the one downside. But yeah, outside of huge physical hits, we have this huge elemental shield that we have from our Ascendancy, 3100, and it respawns after 5 seconds. So if you don't get hit by elemental damage for 5 seconds, you might see here, maybe it'll drain all the way, or maybe it'll go up. But if it either depletes, there, it's back up to 3200. So I get an extra, I basically have an effective health of like 7,000 some against elemental damage, almost 8,000 effective life pool against elemental damage, but my physical damage is literally just my 4,500 with no mitigation. There are plenty of things that can do that, and once you're on vulnerability maps and stuff, just even like regular mobs can do it. See if we can get a mirror shard from that'd be nice. Something crazy like that. Yeah, and I don't think there's actually any like big bosses on this map or anything, so I won't be showing off the single target, but trust me when I say it's not much to show off. If we're being very honest with you here, the single target is clunky. Second wind leveled up. Yeah. Get stunned to death. Oh yeah, stun is a problem too, but usually we don't get hit in sequence too often to be like stun locked, so I haven't found it to be that big of an issue that I need to solve, outside of just getting a baseline more health type thing, so our stun, both duration and frequency, will be a lot lower. Doesn't look like we got anything crazy, unfortunately. But yeah, that's the build. Hope you guys are enjoying the league. Hope you look forward to my Wild Strike Raider. This has been Ryan from Behind Eyes Gaming, and I will see you next time. Bye!